Hi.
Hi, welcome to Michigan Fine Yarns. I'm Tricia.
And I'm Kristyna.
And we are joining you today from Livonia, Michigan. And we thought we would talk to you a little bit about sweaters. So sweaters do have a little bit of jargon. And maybe that's part of what can be a little intimidating. I don't know.
I think so. That's a good point. Yeah.
But we do have a little sample here and then some other examples of a sweater that we like to use in our introductory classes, just to kind of help you learn the parts of a sweater. And I'm gonna let Kristyna break it down since I made the little sample here. It's a different color for each piece of the sample, really. So
so cute.
I'll hold it up.
And actually, if you are intimidated by sweaters, this is a perfect way to really dip your toes in, because you can knit this in a couple of days.
Yeah.
This is worsted weight
Yeah.
yarn? Worsted weight yarn, which means mid-weight. A worsted weight is
The number 4 yarn, for
Okay,
those
number
of you
4.
who use the number system, the Standard Yarn Council system.
And there also sometimes says medium. Per 100 grams, I would say it's around 200 yards, about, give or take. Okay. What did you use, like a 7 or 8 needle?
I did. I used so sometimes you use multiple needle sizes, usually around the collar, the necks here, the collars, and then sometimes around the end of the bodies, and then for the sleeves, I made a teeny tiny short sleeve in this particular sample. But this is a really simple top down sweater, which means we start at the top of the sweater as we start, and then work our way down. And also you might say top down. It's seamless in that we didn't have multiple pieces of the sweater to seam together in the end, and it was knit in the round.
Right. So you start with, say, maybe 12, 16-inch needle, depending on the size of your sweater, and you create the neck band. For this particular sweater, it just goes straight into it. You're not picking a blader, you're not casting on provisionally, you're just regular cast on. And then the yoke of the sweater goes from the neckline down to the area where you would split for sleeves. So you have increases. So this is the yoke section right here. And in this cute little sweater, it looks like the increases are fairly even. So evenly spaced increases.
And we'll keep giving more details about this as we keep moving forward in our journey.
Yes, absolutely.
But when she said split for sleeves, because sometimes that little piece of jargon can also confuse people, what that means is, so we were just working in a circle. And actually, if you have made a hat, you can make a sweater. Because up till this part, I'm just going to see a little inside. This I could turn it around. I'm going to do it just because it will probably be funny. But just like you would put on a hat, right? It's
Same
just
thing.
it's the same exact way that you would make a hat, actually. But instead of perhaps decreasing for the crown of a hat, you're going to be making some increased stitches that actually makes that increases the number of stitches as you're working in that circle. But this split for sleeves part means that when you get to this part of the pattern, you're going to put some of these stitches here, you're just going to put them on hold. There's all kinds of tips and tricks for that part. We'll talk about that. So you put these on like a stitch holder or something. We have our own those stitch holders product as well, some tubing that you can set them on, and it hangs off over to the side, and you just keep knitting around to your other sleeve, and then you start the body of your sweater, which is the green. And these just hang out, your sleeves just hang out on their side, on their own, waiting for you to finish the body.
Right, and you're still knitting in the round. So this green is your body. Sometimes you'll cast on some under the arm, sometimes not. But so then you're just still knitting in the round, and that body is just a tube. It's just a cowl. If you knit a cowl in the round, it's a tube. That's it. The whole body is just a tube. And in this particular sweater, it's just bound off. It has a cute little rolled hem. And so there's no ribbing, there's no fussy special bind off techniques. It's just super simple and functional.
Yeah. And then you come back and you pick up the stitches that were on hold and you get them back on your needle, and you just knit in the round, and you might pick up a couple extra stitches under the arm to just kind of help even it out, prevent any little holes, underarm holes. We don't like those.
We have tricks.
Yeah, more
for
tricks.
underarm holes. And then the ribbing.
Wait. That. So you put these on like a stitch holder or something. We have our own those stitch holders product as well, some tubing that you can set them on, and it hangs off over to the side, and you just keep knitting around to your other sleeve, and then you start the body of your sweater, which is the green. So after the body, really, you just come back and pick up those arm stitches off the stitch holders, slip them right back onto your needles. You might pick up a couple extra stitches under the arm, just depending on what your pattern tells you to do, really. In this pattern, so we actually created an MFY of my first year's sweater that has a bunch of different sweater options, and we'll tell you about them. And so the original, just plain, straightforward, top down, seamless, in the round option, just has regular long sleeves, and then this little stockinette, you're knitting all the stitches.
Tricia.
Collar. Yes, we will show all the versions, but this is a good, so basically as people advance to more complicated patterns, really, they change what? The types of
just one thing, and depending on what type of sweater, what event the baby is wearing the sweater to, I mean, you could create a very ruffly sweater, you could create a very basic sweater, you add ribs, you add eyelets, Tricia will show you all the options.
Yeah, but for adults as well, you're gonna make the sweaters the same way. There might be other steps. There's definitely different types of construction for sweaters, as we've discussed, but just to really help you launch in, this is really the simplest. But even though we can make more complicated sweaters, this is both of our preferred construction, because I mean, and you talked me into this pretty early on, because you can try it on as you go, which is great.
Sorry about that. One of our customers were giving us a call, which is always great. So as Tricia was saying, top down seamless is just our choice, our pick. As complicated as we may be able to do, we keep coming back to these top down sweaters for a couple reasons. It's the finishing is minimal, right? So when you're done, you're done. They're clean. The finishing is clean, meaning it is seamless. I don't know how to say this, but there are no picked up stitches up here, right? So you're starting from the top, you're moving down. It's clean, it's neat, it's easy to follow. You know what section you're on. There's no sewing at the end, which is wonderful. What else? Trying on. Tricia said that already. That's big bonus. And they fit well. They can fit all body types as well, because there are not only yoke, there are different rates of increase. There are compound, which are yoke and raglan. There are raglan, and there are others. So there are many different shapes of top-down sweaters.